Hey guys, it's Brittany here with Surfing Waves of Light, and I'm driving, and I felt inspired to make a video. This morning I lost my temper with Greg, and I just want to show you how I work myself down after I lose my temper, and then also some of the insights I had and the lessons that I learned from this morning. So if you're interested in that, then stick with me. I'll be showing you how. So the first thing that I did to work myself down when I'm in temper, in symptoms, was I used the spot it method. So I'll walk you through that right now. So the situation is I felt like I needed to start getting ready for work, and I didn't know how to communicate that to Greg and my boyfriend, and I ended up getting mad. So that's the situation, because he was still like joking and hanging out. Okay, my physical sensations, tenseness in my body, feeling heaviness in my chest, breathing quickly, picking at my hair, nervous symptoms, nervous, whatever they're called, tremors or tics or whatever, not being able to focus, although yeah, it's kind of physical, feeling distracted while driving. My thoughts are, I'm trying to be a lot better with my temper, so feeling guilty that I projected my feelings onto Greg, feeling like I'm finally realizing that I have not been in the driver's seat of my life, my whole life, and now that I'm trying to take control back, I don't really know how to do that all the time, as far as letting people know what I need, and frustration in that, and feeling bad that I lost my temper with Greg, because he's so sweet and is always trying to be helpful, and yeah, so that's my thoughts. So that's the end of step 2. So step 3 is spots that you can apply to the situation. So the spots I can apply are: we make our greatest gains practicing in discomfort. Calm brings calm. A thought started it, a thought can end it. Fearful temper, I'm judging myself as wrong. Angry temper, I was judging Greg as wrong. Excuse myself in this case rather than accuse myself, for the sake of my own peace of mind. And strive for effort, not relief, and the relief will come. So those are my spots. And then the next part of step 3 is to endorse. So I endorse myself for doing a session on a woman and her dog last night, and spending a lot of time at her house, then going food shopping, coming home, helping make dinner, printing out materials for 3 different programs that I'm doing over the next 2 days, which I'm traveling for. So I had to be packed with outfits, with, papers, just all the stuff that comes along with traveling for work. Wanting to eat this cookie thing that has lava in the middle, oh my god, last night, but realizing I was tired and going to bed anyway, because this morning I woke up and went to yoga, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I had eaten that. So I went to yoga this morning at 5:45, had a really nice morning with Greg before I lost my temper, and endorsed myself for spotting the situation, because sometimes I wouldn't do that. Step 4 is, what would you have done before the spot it method? Before spot it, I would have felt guilty all day, and I would have felt angry at Greg all day, and would have blamed this morning all on him and not taken accountability for my part that I played in this. And that's the spot it method when you're spotting by yourself. So I already feel better. I did spot it once before this video just to get focused. I noticed driving I was not focusing. But one of the insights I had and some clarity I've been getting recently is that part of my work here on this planet in this lifetime is on communication. And I have a really hard time telling people what I need. And I think part of the reason that is because my whole life before, basically age 25, I was always doing things that my culture and my family and friends and the system wanted of me. I have a very free spirit, and so while I did great in school, I would have probably done just as fine outside of school too, like having more free time. And even just having my own business, I'm noticing that time management is so hard for me. Like being disciplined and knowing what to do with my time and how to organize it, or even knowing how to like schedule time off. And there's been a lot of learning curves that have come with that. And I think part of the reason that is not blaming anything else. It's just that my whole life I've been directed and following those directions. So now the past few years, as I've become more conscious and awake, all of a sudden I'm trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. And I just haven't had any practice. So I'm trying to learn how to manage my time, how to even know what I want. And that's what's crazy. The past 5 years, I've realized that I didn't know what I wanted, but at the same time, I knew that I couldn't continue on the life that I was already living. So I made some really big changes and have been like stumbling in the dark to try to figure this out. And I'm telling you guys, it's been at least 5 or 6 years since I realized that my life was not my own. That realization really came to me when my dad was dying, or even maybe when he got diagnosed with cancer. And I just had this epiphany, like, I can't rely on other people outside of me to bring me peace and joy and happiness, because my dad was a good friend of mine. He was a huge supporter of mine. And I realized, like, wow, like a lot of my happiness was coming from our relationship, from the focus we had on each other, the focus he had on me, the care, coming to my surf contests, helping me with nursing, making me food. Like, he was bringing me so much joy. And then when I had to deal with the potential prospect of losing him, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I really need to buckle down and make some decisions so that my life is full. And then if, people pass or whatever happens with people, I'm really content with myself. And so I knew that, but it's taken me years, and I still don't know exactly what I'm doing, but it's taken me years to even like have the courage to say, oh yeah, this is what I want. Oh yeah, this is what my spirit's telling me. And not saying I'm doing that 100% of the time, because I'm not, but at the same time, I've been in this, and the guys have talked about this before. It's like spiritual puberty. Like, I feel like a teenager, like even losing my temper this morning, like I felt like a teenager having what Dr. Lowe in the Spotted Method would call a very temperamental reaction. And even as it was happening, I was very aware that I was being temperamental, that I was being in symptoms, that I was, having an emotional outburst. But what I've found through this journey is that when you first start speaking up for yourself, and not that anyone's against you, because no one's against you, it's just that when you finally start to know what you want, and you start speaking up for yourself, you may not be an expert at communicating that. And for me, it's come up in anger, it's come up in tears, it's come up in, fights, it's come up in a lot of different ways. And so my work right now is to know what I want, always work in progress. I say all the time, what is Surfing Waves of Light? What is my life purpose? I don't even know. I know I love making videos and I love channeling messages, and so we're just gonna see where that goes. But I don't always know what I want, but once I do know, or even have an inkling that there's something that I want, learning how to communicate that properly in a loving way. And I can do that when I'm not in symptoms, but when I'm in symptoms, when a thought that's untrue, that's angry, fearful, guilty, whatever, anything that's not love gets me, and then I have a emotional reaction following, obviously that was a trigger for me, and that's a wound that I need to work on, and I will be. And just a quick note on wounds. So as we're healing wounds, sometimes we feel like we need to put ourselves out there or expose ourselves to all the triggers at once, because that's the only way we can really know we're at peace, if nothing in the world upsets us. And I had this download the other day about wounds, and the download was, just like an open wound that we might have, on our foot or in our chest or stomach or something. When you have a wound, you have to keep it clean, you have to keep it dry, you don't want to get throw salt in there. And so when you do identify a trigger, it is good to take some time away from that trigger to do some healing. like having an open wound, you don't want to keep rubbing. I mean, they say rub the dirt in it. Maybe that is one way, but what they were saying was take some time away from that trigger to get really clear on your part in the trigger, what's causing that wound, maybe the deeper reasons behind the wound as you let it go. And you don't have to be throwing salt in a wound while you have it. You can, you know, kind of take some time away. And it's just like, a wound is just like a baby seed, you know, it can't be exposed to acids and you know, garbage or like any kind of heavy stuff. The seed needs time to flower, and that's how healing occurs too. It needs to be in a very gentle, caring environment. And so my guides who tell me that this universe is the opposite of gentle, they always say you're never gonna hurt yourself to be gentle. You're never gonna regret that. And because we're so taught to override our emotions, being gentle is a safe bet in this reality at this time. And you know, I even notice what my first step with learning how to communicate was I had to just start noticing when my guidance was saying one thing and someone else was saying something else, and how I was consciously overriding that guidance. That's a really big step too. I didn't want to miss that, because that took me like 3 years. I had to just watch myself for probably like 3 to 5 years, just override my own guidance, because you know, part of my belief system is that if people don't like me, if people don't, if I'm not a part of a community, then I think I link survival to that. And so a lot of times when I'm in a group or I'm with another person, Greg, of course, gets to be the receiver of all my weirdness. I would override my guidance and then get mad at him. And it's so funny because I'm starting to realize on a very conscious level that anytime I'm angry at anyone else, it's not because of what they did. It's because it feels a lot better to be angry at another person. And we'll just use Greg because the poor guy, again, deals with all my stuff. It's a lot easier for me to be angry at Greg than it is for me to feel my own guilt and own my part in the situation. And so even this morning, I just found myself, one of the things that I wouldn't have done before the spotted method and the course. I had already done my course phrase this morning, and I always use that too, but what I find is sometimes I have to work myself down first so I'm in a peaceful enough state to get to the course. Because if I'm in symptoms, like I can't remember those phrases. They're like, you know, my thoughts do not mean anything, or the soliloquy, the phrasing of it isn't natural to the way my brain thinks right now. But yeah, so I realized, and I felt this, and I know the course says this, and I know a lot of people say this, but I actually felt, wow, like a lot of times it'd be easier for me to just be mad at Greg, because then I don't have to feel my guilt in realizing how I had a part in creating this situation. And Greg probably didn't even do anything. He was having a good time, and I got stressed out about work, and I worked myself up. So that is me making a video about how I work myself down in the moment. I'm on my way to give a presentation. I have 2 presentations today, and sometimes you don't have time to work yourself down, and that's why Spot It can be super helpful. 5 minutes to get to peace, and then you can, you know, access all the other stuff from there, you know, the course, calling a friend that you know isn't going to work you up, all those things. So I love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to this video, and I'll speak to you again at another time. Bye.